It's Monday, November 25. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Bank of Jamaica BOJ Governor Richard Byles is waiting feedback from financial institutions regarding a proposal that they consider initiating forward contracts for the timely acquisition of funds for transactions on clients' foreign exchange investment portfolios. He said this is in a bid to smoothen the availability and provision of foreign currency and, as best as possible, prevent reoccurrences of recent heightened demand for US dollars that spurred a depreciation in the value of the Jamaican dollar, which fell by 5.2%, just about $7.07 Jamaican, between October 1 and November 12. A forward contract is an arrangement between two parties for the purchase and sale of a particular commodity at, over, or within a specific future timeline. Against this background, Mr. Byles advised that the BOJ and the Financial Services Commission have agreed to collaborate in monitoring these transactions before they enter the market domain. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Jamaica's anti-corruption systems need to be tightened. He made the admission while speaking at the Jamaica Labour Party's annual conference at the National Arena on Sunday.
In a sense, if you were to compare Jamaica to all the other countries in the Caribbean, our framework for anti-corruption would be the most advanced. It is not for want of putting in the legislative and institutional processes. They are there. But you have to bear in mind that we are also very new on the scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs.
Plans are being put in place to establish at least 4 more zones of special operations, ZOSOs. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement at the Jamaica Labour Party's 76th annual conference held at the National Arena in St. Andrew on Sunday.
The government of Jamaica will be adding resources to that as well. And so you're going to hear an announcement of not just 4, but possibly an additional 3 communities. So we are moving very quickly to cover all those 20 communities that we have identified and have them under zones of special operations where we can control crime and at the same time allow the community peace to build and flourish and grow.
Mr. Holness said ZOSOs in Mount Salem, St. James, Denham Town, Kingston have shown that the security measure is effective in curbing the crime wave. Mr. Holness added that the European Union has provided $20 million to Jamaica to assist in areas of community development and security.
The EU is providing us with support of 20 million euros, and we will be using this to support a strategy of intervention in crime-riddled communities. Remember, I told you, we identified 20 communities that are responsible for a significant percent of crime and violence in Jamaica. Our crime fighting strategy is not just dependent on police and state of public emergency. Those measures cannot by themselves bring down our murder rate. There has to be a long-term, sustained intervention in communities.
The People's National Party is calling for the establishment of a timeout facility geared towards the reformation of disruptive students. The call by Deputy Opposition Spokesman on Education Michael Stewart comes against the background of a recent incident at Pembroke Hall High School in which a teacher threatened a student with violence. The Ministry of Education has launched a probe into the incident. According to Mr. Stewart, the incident has brought into sharp focus the high level of indiscipline which pervades the school system on a daily basis. However, he said the teacher shouldn't have taken a different approach to the issue. He said the incident is not isolated, as there are many reports of weekly confrontations between teachers and students. The stigma associated with the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, continues to stymie Jamaica's efforts to achieve its 90-90-90 treatment targets that will set the country on a course to end the AIDS epidemic by 2030. So says Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton. The targets set by UNAIDS are for 90% of people living with HIV to know their status, 90% of all persons diagnosed to access sustained antiretroviral therapy. Speaking at the World AIDS Day 2019 press launch in New Kingston last Thursday, Dr. Tufton said that as at March 2019, the country was at 87-47-62. There is a suggestion that the government of Jamaica extend maternity leave from 3 months to 6 months. Director of the Tropical Metabolism Research Unit at the University of the West Indies, Professor Marvin Reed, made the recommendation at a recent conference in Kingston. The additional 3 months will provide mothers with more time to breastfeed their babies. Professor Reed argued that it will also be in line with a World Health Organization recommendation for mothers to breastfeed their babies for at least 6 months. According to a recent research by the Tropical Metabolism Research Unit, several mothers reported that they did not exclusively breastfeed for 6 weeks. The information was collected from clinics and other health facilities in Jamaica. Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie is calling for volunteers from Western parishes to participate in the 7th Regional Platform on Disaster Risk Reduction in the Americas and the Caribbean, RP20. The 3-day conference will be held from July 8 to 10 at the Montego Bay Conference Center in St. James. Addressing a sensitization session recently at the Montego Bay Cultural Center, Minister McKenzie noted that the support of volunteers is important for the successful staging of the event. Former president of the private sector organization Pbcj and Jamaica Exporters Association JEA, Beverly Lopez, was found dead at her home on Sunday. Chris Zaka, president and CEO of Sagicor Group Jamaica, has expressed condolences to her family and friends. Lopez, a businesswoman, was honored with the Order of Distinction, Commander Class, in 2002 and in 2006. She was conferred with the Order of Jamaica. The US dollar on Friday, November 22, ended trading at Jamaican $138.22, down by 33 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $103.93, down from $104.53, while the British pound sterling ended trading at 176 Jamaican dollars 52 cents, down from $178.84. In regional news, regional carrier Caribbean Airlines is reporting increases in cargo revenue by 14% and a year-on-year profit by 34% for January to September 2019. This was revealed in the unaudited summary financial results outlined in a press release on Friday. CAL attributes its success to the implementation of its new technologies, expansion of the airline's route network, an increase in passenger demand and cargo business, together with enhanced cost management. The government of Trinidad and Tobago is to introduce legislation to decriminalize certain quantities of marijuana and allow for its use as medicinal alternative. The announcement came from Attorney General Faris Alwari in an address in Parliament last Thursday.
Whilst others have flirted or failed in the 25 years since the passage of the Dangerous Drugs Act, I am pleased, as Attorney General of this government, to therefore witness the introduction of two bills today, namely the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Bill 2019 and the Cannabis Control Bill 2019. Together, these bills will amend the Dangerous Drugs Act and birth a new regulatory regime which will move our laws from a colonial, archaic past and into the future. The Dangerous Drugs Amendment Bill 2019 seeks to define marijuana comprehensively as cannabis, to decriminalize certain quantities of cannabis and cannabis resin, to prohibit the use of the substance in public spaces, all educational institutions and places of work. It also seeks to abrogate the present strict prohibition of the administration of the substance to children in medical cases only.
The Attorney General says the bill will modernize the criminal justice system by introducing a tiered penalty system and will introduce a raft of provisions.
Madam Speaker, under this amendment bill, a person may now lawfully grow no more than 4 cannabis male plants at his residence without a license. Under the tiered possession scheme, the bill proposes the abolition of the present regime whereby possession of any amount is an arrestable offense. This tiered possession scheme will establish lawful limits for possession and use. Hence, under the new scheme, a person found in possession of 30 grams of cannabis or less will no longer be arrested for possession. That being said, the government also proposes to impose an upper limit for lawful possession of cannabis or cannabis resin, respectively. That limit will be 60 grams as proposed by this bill, Madam Speaker.
Still in Trinidad and Tobago, opposition leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar has written to Health Minister threatening legal action over comments that he recently made at a public meeting. TV6's Joe Brown has that story.
At a PNM public meeting on November 5th, Health Minister Terence Dialsing posed the questions to the opposition leader concerning data regarding the H1N1 flu virus during her administration. The opposition leader's response to Minister Dialsing, a pre-action protocol letter seeking an unqualified apology, as well as to desist from repeating those statements, and substantial compensation to the opposition leader. The Health Minister was given until December 11th to respond. If the matter goes to court, a High Court judge could be asked to make a ruling that could not only determine if the statements were defamatory, it could potentially influence what is said in political speeches. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar's attorneys, Kyal Takla Singh, Denish Rambali and Jagdeo Singh write the statements made by the Health Minister may also cause citizens and voters to fail to vote for the UNC's candidates in this election or the opposition leader herself in future elections. The pre-action letter, signed by attorney Stefan Ramkesoon, states this is a matter which the opposition leader's lawyers will certainly raise before the courts. Minister Dialsing told I-95.5 FM the matter is in the hands of his attorneys.
Over in Guyana, a new political party has formed ahead of the March 2020 elections. The New Movement, or TNM, is headed by mostly young doctors, and they presented their candidates and objectives last Thursday. Newsroom Guyana's Bibi Katoon reports.
The party's presidential candidate is Dr. Asha Kisoon. She is 30 years old and new to the political arena, but hopes that she can bring solutions to the plight of women, children, and ordinary Guyanese.
But we want improvement. Change has been promised to us 100 of times, but we're above change right now. What we need is improvements in Guyana. So my personal journey, I never imagined standing before you today as a politician. I'm still coming to terms with it. My main distress was that when I turned to the left, there's one party fighting with the other. I turn to the right, there are racial barriers. I turn to the left again, there is favoritism in the system. So because I was so tired of it, I decided to come forward and work with my colleagues towards achieving the vision that we have.
The party founders believe that the former governments have failed miserably to solve some of the major issues affecting society. According to Dr. Kisoon, The party is financed by its members through fundraising events. Prime Ministerial candidate Dr. Gerald Ford called on persons to join the new movement.
We need strong leadership. We are at a crossroad in our country. And only unity can bring us out of this conundrum. The average poor, middle, and working class people struggle together in the markets, in the schools, in the hospitals, in the offices, in our communities, to make ends meet. We are in a struggle together to realize economic liberation in this generation. I urge you today, do not let any politician or family or imperialist tell you your fellow countryman is your enemy because of their skin color or because of their hair texture. The enemy of the Guyanese are those forces who seek our continued division, our exploitation, and our perpetuation of ignorance in this country.
Ford previously contested the local government elections as an independent candidate at Grove on the east bank of the Demerara. The party's symbol is a harpy eagle, which leaders said shows the party's strength to rise above corruption and other ongoing issues in Guyana.
In sports, we're on the courts with basketball as William Knibb Memorial will on Monday clash with Cornwall College in the Inter-Secondary School Sports Association's Western Conference boys basketball doubleheader in Martha Brae. Despite leading the under-19 section, William Knibb are coming off two big losses to defending champions Herbert Morrison Technical last Tuesday. They were beaten 15-83 in the under-16 and 47-104 in the under-19. Cornwall, meanwhile, full of confidence after beating York Castle in their last game, will be looking to continue on their winning path. And that's the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Thanks so much for watching.